Hi guys, welcome back. So today we're doing another reaction video because you guys really seem to like these videos. So today we're reacting to a video from Jubilee Media called Do All People with Mental Illness Think the Same? This is from their series of video called Spectrum. If you don't know the concept, I'm gonna try to explain it. Basically what they do is invite 6 people from a certain group, so in this case people with mental illness, and the goal is to see the range of beliefs in the certain group, as well as to spark some debate and some conversation on those topics. I haven't watched this video yet. It has been out for something like a month or maybe 2 now, I think, so I'm really looking forward to looking at it. Okay, so first off, I see that they're gonna discuss self-harm, so I'm really happy about that.
Mental health was discussed in my home growing up.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just play along. I would personally go to somewhat agree, I think, because I can't say it wasn't discussed at all. It was discussed, but not very often, and more like passing by or something like that. Probably because I didn't have people around me at the time that had a lot of mental health issues. When I started to have mental health issues, it was something that was openly discussed with no shame and very informative style. But before that, I can't say it was really talked about much.
3, 2, 1, go.
Mental illness was discussed in my home growing up, but it wasn't discussed in like a positive light.
I kind of feel like I was like the prototype in my family because after I was diagnosed with my mental illness, a few years later, my uncle got diagnosed and then 2 of my cousins did. And when I first was experiencing the symptoms, everyone thought that I was just being a rebellious teenager. The consideration that I might be going through something deeper than that was never even considered.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't until I was, until last year when I was first hospitalized that the conversation of mental health was brought up in my family. And I don't think it was done on purpose. I think it was just never had a space to do it, and we weren't really like accustomed to it.
People are surprised to find out I have my mental illness.
I really don't know how to answer that because I don't really tell people much about my mental illness. As much as I talk about it online, I don't really talk about it much in real life. So I have no idea if people are surprised or not. I would say, it's pretty sad to say, but with the way I choose to present myself and the misconceptions that can come from that, I would probably go to somewhat disagree, because I think people with colored hair, piercings and tattoos are often seen as people with mental illness, so I would go to that, but I'm really not sure.
3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, I'm glad to see I'm not the only one that doesn't know how to respond to that.
Like in high school and stuff, like I was always like the even, just cool dude. Like everybody, it seemed like I had it together really. And so I think it would probably surprise some people that I'm dealing with bipolar disorder, because it just seemed like everything was so in order. Everything was looking how it was supposed to look.
I think I just try to carry myself the exact opposite of what people would think, just so I can make an effort to hide it a lot better.
Yeah, I don't think I personally hide it that much. Well, I don't really know if I go out of my way to try to hide my issues. I definitely do hide my scars from a lot of people, but yeah, that's an interesting point. I don't know if I am trying to hide it or not. I don't know.
I'm so open about it that like any stranger on the street, like if it should happen to come up, I will shake someone's hand and be like, yeah, I have OCD.
I would love to have that confidence. I definitely don't have it. That is amazing. If she's that open about it and is that confident in herself to just be, hey, I have OCD, that is amazing. And also, I really love her stretched ears. It looks amazing on her. I wish my lips were this big. Probably one day.
Like,
You know what I was about to say? I'm gonna move to the strongly disagree because I actually tell everybody.
I actually, okay.
So there's nothing to hide. Like
You're
I don't
right.
feel like hiding it. Like
Yeah.
I'd rather tell somebody, oh yeah, by the way, I'm bipolar. So if I ever like start acting a little bit different, like that might be why.
One way I guess that I answer differently from these 2 people is that right now my mental health isn't really an issue. I had huge issues in the past. Right now I'm on medication, I have scars, and I have my history of mental illness. But right now this is not something that I have to actively manage. I'm not in therapy anymore, so it's more talking about my past and not really about my day-to-day life, I guess, except for my scars. So this is also probably why I'm not just saying, hey, I self-harmed, or hey, I had depression, or hey, I'm on meds, because it's not something that is really useful for people to know about me, or at least not everyone.
I trust medical professionals.
That's a very interesting one. My first instinct was to go, yes, strongly agree. But then I thought about how much medical professionals know about self-harm and how most of my experiences that were negative regarding my self-harm, I made a video about that if you want to watch it, was only with medical professionals. So regarding medical professionals as a whole, or mental health professionals as a whole, I would probably go to agree. When it comes to self-harm, I guess I would go to somewhat agree, or maybe somewhat disagree. No, somewhat agree, I think.
3, 2, 1, go.
I was first diagnosed with schizophrenia, and that was after seeing a psychiatrist for 5 minutes.
What? Oh.
She sat with me, looked at me, she's like, okay, you have schizophrenia, just because I told her I had hallucinations. But I was later diagnosed as bipolar 1.
They seem to have a lot of bipolar people here.
I do trust medical professionals. Like, I believe for the most part that they're trying to do what's best for you, and we can't allow like mistakes or things that happen in every career, every field, discourage us or others from going and getting help from these people.
Yeah, definitely.
Self-diagnosis is dangerous and invalid.
So, I made a whole video about my thoughts on self-diagnosis, you can go watch it here. I guess I would go to agree, not strongly agree, because I think self-diagnosis can be a first step in researching what you could have and in taking care of yourself, really. So I wouldn't go to strongly agree, but I would definitely not go to disagree.
3, 2, 1, go.
Before I was diagnosed with bipolar, I thought I was absolutely everything because I was bipolar and I'd be going through all these different manic episodes. And, you know, one week I'd be self-diagnosing myself as this and the next week I'm that.
Yeah, I think this is the main danger with self-diagnosis, is that you can be everything, and I don't think that's really constructive.
It's interesting, the first time that I went into a therapist and said, I think I have an eating disorder, I told her the amount of times a day that I was purging, and it was all day, every day, and she said, you're not thin enough. It's not a problem unless you get thinner and thinner.
Ooh. Well, I don't know who she went to, but firstly, this person had horrible bedside manner, and then they probably never read the DSM, because this is really not what it's about. I'm really sorry she had this experience, it's horrible.
I did end up getting diagnosed later on with both bulimia and anorexia at different points in time, but I think it was good during those 2 years that I didn't have a diagnosis to still be able to talk to people, like to still be able to talk to my friends and say like, I have an eating disorder, I'm not diagnosed, but I have an eating disorder.
But I think how she put it is a very great way, is I'm not diagnosed, but I have an eating disorder. Just I think I have X, but I'm not officially diagnosed, or I have X, but I'm not diagnosed. I think this is the correct way to talk with others about those type of things.
Sometimes when you're like self-diagnosed, you kind of don't get treated the same as being diagnosed by a doctor. But I think people know themselves well. So I think it should be taken more seriously when people at least attempt at self-diagnosing themselves.
Yeah, with that I agree. You definitely have to take people seriously if they think something is wrong with them.
Therapy and medication works for me.
I would go to strongly agree, because those are the two things that really helps me.
3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, glad to see that.
I'm torn with the whole therapy thing. Medication, I'm all for. I've been on medication since I was 16, and it's actually really helped me get through my different moods and keeping me stable. But as for therapy, sometimes I feel like when I go, I'm just like re-triggering, you know, the trauma inside me, so I don't really like to talk about it. But I agree with you guys, it does work for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, that is one of the risks of talk therapy. And this is something that you should discuss with your therapist if this is an issue for you. But yeah, that's one of the risks.
Going to therapy definitely saved my life.
Same, bro, same.
I wish I didn't have my illness.
That's a hard one. That's a really hard one. I think I would go to somewhat agree, but at the same time it gave me opportunities that I wouldn't have had in other ways. So I think most of it is that I can't imagine who I would be without what happened to me. So it's really hard to answer because I don't know who I would be if I hadn't had those experiences and those struggles. So I guess I would go to somewhat agree because it has been so hard and it has brought me so much pain and pain to my family and all of that. But at the same time, I learned so much from it and it gave me opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So I guess I would go to somewhat agree.
3, 2, 1, go.
Very wide range.
I would say that I would completely take back, go back in time and not go through the darker parts of my life. But it's helped me grow a lot as a person. I wouldn't change the person that I've become, how stronger I've been from it, how much more confidence I've had in myself. Had I not gone through that, I wouldn't take that back.
It truly is so hard because in one way, like, it has made me who I am today. It has made me so much more empathetic. It literally, I'm a mental health writer, and
I have to check this girl out. I really have to.
it started my career. I wouldn't have the career that I have. I wouldn't have the connections that I have. But then thinking of how, like, I have osteoporosis, I have bone problems, I have teeth problems because of my eating disorder. And so it's like I wouldn't take away my past, but if I could snap my fingers and not have to deal with it for the rest of my life, that would be excellent.
It gives me the responsibility to be a voice for the voiceless, especially people in my community who go through these things, who don't know what's going on, have no experience with it at all. And for someone like me to just step out on a limb and just talk about it, I think I was chose to have that role.
You aren't just making a lasting effect on yourself, it really affects everybody. And I think that if I didn't have my disorder, I wouldn't be who I am. And I'm okay with that because life is more than just me.
I do believe that we should be positive about our mental illnesses so we can bring other people up who aren't even ready to accept that they're going through something right now. If they see us feeling like so negative and like we wish we could just rip all this away, which I totally understand, like how everybody feels. I'm not trying to say that it's so much easier or anything. All I'm trying to say is that it's part of your life, not your entire life. Like my life is so much more my beautiful husband, like my wonderful family, my cute chihuahuas, like that's my life. Like my life isn't that I'm bipolar, that I have an eating disorder, or that I experience sexual trauma.
This is such a hard one for all of us. I don't want to be in this line, I want to be in the middle. I think life would be easier without taking all those pills, without not knowing if I could even have a child because I can't bear a baby with taking all these pills. It sucks. But at the same time, there's so many people out there who live with these illnesses, and I think it's up to us to help them and to, be their strength and to educate people because who else is going to do it if not us?
You guys are awesome. Thank you all for sharing.
That was a very good video. I don't think they talked about self-harm though, which I'm kind of disappointed about. I really would have loved to react to it, but oh well, I guess. I really like the work that Jubilee is doing. I really love the series Middle Ground, Spectrum, and all of that, because I think it's a very healthy way to spark discussion, to spark debate, and yeah, I really like it. So that's it guys. How would you have reacted? If you have played along, please leave it in the comments. Where would you have landed on all of that? I would love to see your answers as always. If you want to chat with me, you can hit me up on Instagram, link is in the description as always. You can also see daily content from me on there. I answer to every DM I get, and I will see you very soon. Bye guys.